Hello everybody, Haku here with my review of The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 8, the mid-season finale, and its title was something or another. I don't remember the title, I didn't write it down. But yeah, for this one, instead of going through the episode part by part, because that'd be kind of difficult because it jumped around a lot, I'm going to discuss the basic groups. Well, I'll discuss what happened with each of the groups and with each of the big plot points of the episode. And I feel like the big plot point that we should probably hit first and talk about first is the Carl dying drama. So the drama is interesting to me. Because I don't know, it just feels so weird to kill him off here. I'll go through my thoughts and look at some of the stuff objectively, but there's some drama where, like, his dad made this Facebook comment and then about, like, saying he never trusted Gimple, but Chandler did, and this isn't fair and stuff. They said they'd use him for 3 more years, and then all of a sudden fired him 2 weeks before this. It seems very weird to me. And then he deleted it. And what I'm thinking is, Chandler's probably like, why do you have to embarrass me in front of everyone, Dad, bringing this up? Yeah. How much of this is real? How much of it's a work? I think it could be sort of manufactured drama, possibly, to get people more excited, make people think he's going to really die if they have him survive somehow. It could be manufactured drama just to hype up the show more, but it seems very weird. The whole situation is weird because Carl dying here is weird. With me, I'm not really sad or angry or anything, and of course I'm not going to be like one of those people, fire Gimple or boycott the show. But objectively, it seems like a dumb idea, a bad writing decision to kill Carl off right now. Because the big thing with killing a character off, it needs to serve a purpose. Just this season, characters that have died, Shiva died, all these random Kingdom people died, to push Ezekiel's character forward and move the story forward without them in it, because now we'll need other groups coming in and stuff. Who was it that I was thinking of just a second ago that died? Oh yeah, Eric died to push Aaron forward and do a bunch for his character, but Carl dying here really doesn't do much. I mean, the only character it really deeply, it doesn't really change anybody. Carl dying doesn't really change Michonne. Sure, she's going to be hurt from it, she's going to be sad, but it doesn't change her basic character. With Rick, it doesn't really invoke much change for him. Does it make him want to defeat the Saviors even more and bring about the peaceful world Carl talked about? Yeah, but he already kind of wanted that. And I mean, the sort of impetus for him wanting that was Glenn's death. So adding Carl on top of that just seems like needless shock value that wasn't necessary for the story. It makes no sense on that level, that it doesn't really do anything for the show or for the other characters, for the plot. But on the other hand, it doesn't make sense because from everything we know, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but it seems like we're going to be having a time skip. Sooner or later, we're going to jump forward a few years or something, and that I thought was probably going to be between this season and next season. And if we're going to do that, without Carl, we don't have this character that we've seen as a kid that now we get to see as an adult, and see the story through their eyes a bit more. And that's Carl's role. That's what he would be perfect for, of course. But without that, what other character around that age do we have? Cindy's not really important. She's over at the ocean side. We just barely met her. And then we have Enid, and Enid is not really developed, not like Carl. I mean, what little we've seen of Enid has mostly just been, I like to run outside the walls into the woods. That is the majority of what we've seen with her. The stuff with her and Glenn and her and Maggie has all been good, but we haven't seen a lot of it, because in season 7 we saw her maybe like 2 episodes, and they were spread damn near the full season apart. So killing Carl here, it just really makes no sense. It takes away from future storylines that could be had, whereas other characters killed off, there wasn't much left to do with their characters. It seems like, because I wouldn't have complained, like, let's say 2 seasons ago, they killed Carl off, everybody's complaining, oh, he's getting too old and it's taking away from the immersion or whatever. 2 seasons ago, kill Carl, bring in a new character that serves that purpose or something. okay, that happens, I guess. But here it seems like you're killing off the character with no suitable replacement, for lack of a better word, for that like role he plays in the story and the plot, and not even taking the comics into consideration. Just the show's story and plot, they're kind of killing him off with no replacement at the time when he would be most important. So it seems like they're limiting their own storylines, and again, this doesn't do anything for new storylines, so I don't really understand it. Again, I'm not complaining saying it's the worst thing ever, I just don't understand the decision. It seems like a really poor decision. And as for the Gimple stuff, I feel like I have always liked him and thought he did a good job, but looking back objectively, on the one hand, I like him and he seems like a really likable, cool guy in all the interviews and stuff, and that's the side I've generally been on, but I can look at things objectively, and objectively, for the people saying he's done a bad job, I mean, Season 6, that cliffhanger was still a huge mistake. That hurt the show a lot, and you can see it in the ratings. That cliffhanger hurt the show a lot, and what hurt it even more was all of last season. Though there were specific episodes where I really liked them, I generally liked some episodes, but for the most part I thought each of them was good except maybe one or two here and there. But there was the huge problem with terrible pacing, all of these bottle episodes where we'd only see one community and nothing else, and then that would work, but we'd only see that one community, then we wouldn't see them again for 8 to 10 more episodes. So there were huge problems with Season 7, and a lot of this I think comes down to AMC and them screwing over The Walking Dead when it comes to budgeting and stuff. And I'm sorry that this review is taking on more of a Carl death discussion, but I just don't understand the decisions here. I personally think that Gimple's done a good job getting back on that topic, but for the people that say he hasn't, you know, I can kind of see it too. The show is struggling, and what this feels like to me is they wanted shock value of killing an important character. Don't know why they chose Carl, but they wanted the shock value. They wanted to kill an important character, but it almost seems like they didn't think through the implications properly. I'm just not sure what they're doing. And even if they wanted to kill a main character, people would hate me for saying kill Daryl off. There are a ton of people still who say if Daryl leaves, we're not watching the show. But the thing is, you look at Carl and you look at Daryl, what more storylines does Daryl really have to tell? Hell, what storylines has he been telling the past few seasons? I mean, I just, his stuff with Dwight is cool, but even then, that's like mostly on Dwight being a cool new character. So, I don't know. But one thing I'm hoping and thinking, and I don't want to be one of those hopelessly optimistic people that are like, oh, maybe he could survive when it's obvious he's been bitten or something, but I'm hoping maybe he could survive. I don't see him surviving. What I see is they're probably going to have a big, sad, long episode where he leaves behind his will to the other characters, and that's going to be the mid-season premiere. But hopefully maybe he could survive, and if he did survive, I'd have no problems with it. I feel like people would complain either way. People are already complaining either way. But ways that he could survive, I think it's perfectly logical to say that maybe he wasn't really bit. Maybe it bit him, but you see that in the episode where it happens, you can see the saliva of the bite mark on his shirt. But maybe since it bit him, and it was, I'm just going to use my shoulder for an example, but maybe since it did that, maybe if it didn't break through the shirt, you could make the argument, because the wound looked really clean and stuff, it wasn't all nasty and infected looking, you could say, and that might just be on the props and effects department, but either way, it didn't look that bad looking, so maybe his clothes protected him from the actual bacteria and germs from it, and there's always a possibility, because that's supposedly what makes you turn, so there could always be the chance that he could survive because of that. Or possibly it wasn't actually, I've heard people say possibly it wasn't Walker, it was a Whisperer. I'm not going to say what Whisperers are to spoil any of that, but I don't see that happening, but who knows, maybe that is an explanation and that sets things up for way in the future. And another thing is he could be immune. And if he was immune, I wouldn't complain, because I looked this back up, and I think even discussed this way back when it was going on in Fear the Walking Dead with the one guy talking about saying he was immune. And the thing is, with any disease, there's a certain percent of the population that is immune to this disease. Like, just throw out any random disease and like maybe 1 to 5%, it's actually a pretty decent number, could potentially be immune to that disease. So there's always a chance. You think a good chunk of the population has died, and not all by the disease, but of what's left, you gotta think that because such a large portion was killed by the disease, that some of the ones that are left, a person or two here and there being immune, it does make logical sense. I understand why they wouldn't want to give someone that sort of plot armor, but you know, I wouldn't complain, because logically it does check out, even though it would be heavy plot armor. But other than that, let's talk about the rest of the points. I spent 11 minutes talking about Carl dying. But either way, I loved Carl stepping up and running the escape plan here. Again, not sure why they killed him off, but I think that the scene where he was up on the wall talking down to Negan was, I've always said, there are people that complain about him, but I've always said Chandler Riggs is really great. I like him, I enjoy him. But I thought that that was his best performance. When he was up on the wall talking to Negan, that was definitely his best performance in my opinion. Dwight, talking about him, Dwight is great. I really love the character, and I'm thinking there may be some more plot with Laura, which I'd really like, because I enjoy Laura's character. I think it'd be cool if she doesn't tell Negan what happened, and she's like, I see that Alexandria's the good guys, or I like Dwight enough to hold off on this for right now. So I actually think that some more plotline for Laura would be cool, because I like the casting they had, and I think she's been cool so far. Then we've got, I just loved his thing though, where she's like, D, stop the car, and he's like, nope, just keeps driving. Or even before that, when he's walking away from the wall, as you can hear the truck coming, and he's like, oh, it'll hold, and all that, just very obviously betraying them. But I thought that Negan versus Rick and all the Michonne stuff that happened during the Negan versus Rick stuff, that was a bit too fan servicey. I could have gone without it. I didn't think it was bad, but I could have gone without it, because it felt like, okay, Negan's not killing Rick. Rick's not killing Negan. You don't even have to pretend like either of them are killing each other, because we as fans know they're not at this point in the story. And I don't know, it felt kind of pointless because of that. From the beginning, we knew nothing's going to come of this. The kingdom stuff, I loved Ezekiel saving everyone there at the end, basically sacrificing himself. Thought that was really cool. And I think Gavin's character is really, he seems like the manager of a store that hates his job, but he's the manager. That's kind of how I get the feeling from Gavin. I liked that, and I liked when he started to get kind of serious, where he's like, come on people, there are children here, just give up the king. I don't want to kill somebody in front of kids. I really liked his speech. And I guess I just like the sort of mirroring with him giving a speech, Simon giving a speech, Negan giving a speech, all at the same time, trying to be all creepy and savoury. I liked all that. But the Hilltop stuff, I thought the Hilltop stuff was some of the best. It was tense and stressful. When they were stopped on the road, that was the most stressful I was all episode, where they had Jerry down on his knees with a gun to his head. So stressed. The Neil death was poorly shot, though. I mean, damn, nobody knew what was happening. Like, with my family watching it, we were all like, okay, he didn't shoot Jerry. Who the hell did he shoot? Did he just shoot up in the air? What happened? And so it took away a lot, because Simon's performance was really great. Stephen Ogg, where he's like, I wanted you to smell it. Do you understand this, Maggie? And he's going through all that. That was so great. And yet none of us knew what was going on. And I have watched some reaction videos, and every time that scene comes up, they're like, oh my god, did he shoot Jerry? And then Jerry's alive, and they're like, and it takes you out to where you're not paying attention to his great speech and all that, because everyone's like, who'd he shoot? So yeah, I think that was just poor video editing, or maybe poor camera angles and stuff, but yeah, nobody knew until later on. They're like, oh, we shot the guy in the back seat, Neil. Like, and we didn't even know who Neil was either, so I mean, whatever. But yeah, well, it's just eh. I love that Maggie took the box and the way she used it, though, where she's like, we have 38 more, back off and all that. That's great. And it's good to see Maggie, the way she's conflicted with her emotions. She didn't want to kill the prisoner, but she felt like that's what she has to do to keep the place standing, because they're the last hope. They're the last hope for people to come to and to fight back, and where they're planning to make their last stand. And if they make that last stand the whole second half of the season, that could either be terrible or absolutely amazing. I'm hoping absolutely amazing, but possibly kind of terrible. But we'll see. Then for the Eugene stuff, he gets some small bit of redemption. Not total redemption, but him freeing Gabriel and the doctor to go back to Maggie. Like I said, the doctor being was kind of the straw that broke me on the character, where I was like, he knows Maggie needs that doctor, and yet he's going to be that way. Still, the way he called them traveling companions, and he doesn't respect all they did for them, that's still bad. But at least he freed the doctor because he knows that Maggie needs the doctor. At least we got that from him. Gabriel better live also. I love Gabriel. Enid monumentally fucked up. I mean, damn, Enid, she just shot Natanya. That would be cool if the episode focused more on that, but it felt kind of like a throwaway. I don't get why they just did that and never went back to it, never did anything more with it. Seemed like a bit of a throwaway. Also, I'm totally team trash people at this point. This was at the beginning of the episode, but I forgot until now, where the Saviors started shooting back and the trash people said, this won't end the deal, this won't end the pictures, we're out, just booked off and left Rick. I thought it was hilarious. Team trash people. Alexandria's destruction, also, I think it's cool, and I think it works story-wise, but there's always going to be that plot hole, that logic hole there, where people are always going to say, why did the Saviors destroy it instead of take it over? And they're always going to have a point, because it seems like really wasteful when they could have taken it over and had those houses themselves. Those houses had electricity and water, and they said, no, never mind. So that's always going to be a bit of a logic hole. Always going to be. But either way, I think the episode, it looked great artistically, in my opinion. I thought it was good. It was tensed, and it was good and it was tense, but it was also filled with all the negatives of trying to be shocking, but not really thinking it through very well. So yeah, I'd say 8 wasted houses out of 10. The Carl death, it just... I talked about it for 11 minutes and it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. It seems like a really boneheaded decision. But either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this and I give it such a high score after complaining about that. Because it was a really good episode, and I don't mind Carl dying. I'm still going to watch the show. I just think it's not a very good writing decision. Just my opinion, not something I would do. But either way, like I said, like if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more The Walking Dead comics every month. I do a live reaction and review, and also the TV show whenever it comes back. I'm going to be reviewing it week to week. Don't know if I'll review Fear though. I don't know. I like Fear. I really enjoy it. I'm one of the fans that really likes it. I see so many people hating on it, but I actually really like Fear. But I don't know. I don't know if I like it enough. I really like it. I just don't know if I like it enough to review it every single week when I'm already having so many other shows that I review and talk about. If you want to see Fear, though, if you want to see reviews of that, I guess make the argument and, you know, I might listen to you and start reviewing it. But either way, yeah, that was subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. If you want a link to our Discord server, we typically don't talk about The Walking Dead there, but we can. So yeah, if you want a link to that, just ask. I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.